Hi Royal We family and YouTubers, welcome to the Royal We channel. How many of you are having a difficult time growing new healthy relationships after narcissistic abuse? And when I say growing new healthy relationships, I mean staying away from narcissistic, toxic people. We don't want to go down that road ever again, right? And some of you might be saying, Kevin, I think it's impossible because every time I go outside, it feels like I'm bumping into some narcissistic, psychotic creepo. And to that, I would say, you're probably right. You probably are. And there's another reason why you feel this way. When you come out of a toxic situation with narcissists, it not only hurts you because of that relationship, but it also awakens you to a new perspective of the world around you. No longer do you look at the world through the lens of, well, the world is inherently good and everybody is inherently good and you just gotta pull the love out of people with your love and ride off on unicorns chasing butterflies in the sunshine, right? That lens is no more. Now you perceive the world through the lens of the world is not inherently good and people are not inherently good necessarily. As a matter of fact, people can be cruel and cold and malicious and violent and hostile and abusive. And they will lie to you and cheat on you and steal from you and take from you, manipulate you and leave you busted and broken. And this has been your experience with narcissistic abuse, right? And so it's no wonder that many of you are not even interested in growing new, healthy, close personal relationships. It's completely understandable. So one of the things we want to start looking at is how we can take our power back from narcissism. When I say take our power back, I mean take our power to decide when and how and why we grow new healthy relationships. Because one of the traps we can fall into as we self-isolate after narcissistic abuse is waiting for narcissism to go away, waiting for it to resolve itself. How many of you realize that it's not going anywhere? Narcissism is here to stay. In fact, it's been here long before you and long before me. It's been here since the ancient days of old. You can read about it in the story of Cain and Abel, right? It's not going anywhere. It is the world in which we live. And so when I say take our power back, we need to be at a place where we decide when and how and why we move forward and grow personal healthy relationships if we choose to do that, right? So I have some principles in this video that I want to share with you that I learned from gardening that I believe are going to help out in this situation. So check out this garden and I want to talk with you about it. All right, everybody, so the fact that we're in quarantine right now gives us an opportunity to do some things that we never would have really taken the time to do. So my family is making a vegetable garden. We're gonna grow our own vegetables. I'm excited about it. We've got all the stuff. It's gonna take some work. We have to move some stuff around in our backyard. But I'm gonna show you some of the vegetables that we're gonna be growing. We've got some red onions, Roma tomatoes, cucumber that we're gonna be growing here. Got some zucchini. We also have some sweet peppers, and we have some romaine lettuce that we're gonna grow. Everything here is organic, it's fresh. We're gonna be growing it in organic soil. And so first of all, we've gotta make some space, dig our weeds up. And so we're gonna get to work on that. And I broke it. Now here we are, a month after beginning to grow the vegetable garden, and the growth has been incredible. And I haven't even done that much, just the basic requirements for nourishing a vegetable garden. The reason the vegetable garden is growing so well is because of these basic principles that I'm gonna share with you that I believe will work in relationships as well. How many of you have heard the analogy that you reap what you sow in relationships? Now, how many of you would agree that it seems only partially true? It's missing something, right? And it is. It's missing a lot. I mean, yeah, it can stand on its own kind of. But for those of you who've done any gardening, any planting, you know that it's a lot deeper than just you reap what you sow. And the same is true with our personal relationships. I'm going to share with you some principles that I've learned that we can actually use in personal relationships. And I learned this from planting the vegetable garden. These principles are centered around the analogy that you reap what you sow. Principle number 1, know what it is you're trying to reap. Before I started the vegetable garden, I thought about what it was I wanted to grow. What kinds of vegetables I like. What kind of vegetables I find healthy, I find tasty. Sure, I could have went out and bought a bag of any seed and just thrown any seed out there. Just wildly thrown my investment, my pearls in the dirt, and whatever grew. I could have got some lettuce, I could have got some mushrooms, I could have got some poison ivy, right? And that's the result of not taking the time to consider what it is you want to grow. The same is true with our personal relationships. How many of us have taken the time to consider what we want in relationships, what we're looking for, what types of relationships we would like to see in our lives? We don't take that time, and so we just throw our investment, we throw our pearls before the swine, and whatever we get in return is what we get in return, and a lot of it is poison ivy, right? Right. So principle number 1 is think about what it is you want to grow, and then invest in that. Now, the second principle is super important, all right? It's not just you reap what you sow, but how many of you realize that it's you reap where you sow? Okay, let me explain here. If I were to just take seeds and plant them on the cement, what's going to grow? Nothing. Why? Because the seeds are not able to take root, right? There's no soil for the roots to form. This solid cement represents your narcissistically abusive people who have that wall, that facade. Nothing you invest into that relationship is going to take root. So you have to be mindful of that, right? Now let's move on to a different area. What if we were to sow seeds in a rocky place where there's cracks of soil? I mean, sure, some of the seeds can start to take root in some of the cracks, but it's going to be a confined growth, right? It's going to be real small, just whatever can grow through the cracks. This represents relationships with people who are broken and who are hurting. And now, one of the things I do on the Royal We is help you to understand that it's okay to compartmentalize your relationships, right? So a lot of you on the Royal We Facebook support group have formed some deep relationships, but it's compartmentalized. The relationship is based on those particular cracks that are hurting, and that's okay. That's okay. Because when you go into it, you know that that's what you're going to get. So you're planting seeds in these cracks, and you're forming a relationship. Now, when it comes to a deep, personal, intimate relationship, one in which you're sharing more of your entire world, you want to make sure that you have good soil. You want good, rich soil in another person where your seeds, your investment, your pearls can take root and form, and you grow a healthy, mutual relationship in that way.